Blackhawks fall to the Jets in Winnipeg, 3-2 in overtime. Tough loss. It's a game that it really felt like they had a lot of opportunity to win that game. They were the better team for, I think, a lot of that game. And it just came down to really, it just came down to poorly executed third period, is why I think they lost. But we'll get into all that. Welcome back to the Blackhawks Conversation post-game show. If you're new here, I'm here after every single Chicago Blackhawks game, doing an in-depth analysis sort of post-game show. I'm also live right here on YouTube for every single Chicago Blackhawks game. And once again, I say it every time, but once again, we had just an unreal live stream tonight. I'm telling you, if you haven't joined, be sure to join. It's a ton of fun. We have a lot of good people in there, and it's really becoming like a small community, and it's a ton of fun. So if you're new here, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that because it's a lot of fun. Um, yeah, let's get into this one. A lot to get into here. Pre-game notes. Korchinski was out and Ethan Del Mastro was in. Um, and that decision is interesting because Korchinski's a guy you have up here for a couple games. You have up here for a couple weeks. He only plays a couple games, and then the second Murphy goes, Del Mastro, you come, fly from Rockford, you're in, Korchinski's out. So it honestly makes me question the faith in Korchinski, whether it's Kyle Davidson or Jeff Blashill. I lean more toward Blashill on that one. And with Connor Murphy gone, the thing we're starting to see going forward is Artem Levshinov and Louis Crevier getting more penalty kill time, and it looked good tonight. Um, and a question I have right off the top for you guys is: do you think that was the last game we're seeing of Dickinson in a Hawks jersey and potentially even Mikheyev, Grzelcyk, or Foligno? I mean, I think it's pretty certain it's Dickinson's last game, but there's been talks around Mikheyev. There's even been talks around Foligno. I don't think Grzelcyk gets traded. I'll just say that. But yeah, it could be interesting. And because Connor Murphy's no longer here, Connor Bedard wore the A tonight, and he had a great game. So the lines didn't change tonight. The only change was Korchinski out on that bottom pair and Del Mastro in, paired with Rinzel. Um, so yeah, I thought the Hawks played a really good first period. Specifically, I thought Frank Nazar once again had a really good first period, and once again kind of disappeared as the game went on. And I really want to know what it is with this guy where he's very noticeable to start a game and he's creating a lot of chances, creating a lot of opportunity for himself and for his line mates. And then as the game goes, I feel like he just disappears into more of a defensive role. So I don't know what's going on with that. The power play was moving good. The penalty kill looked good. Um, and in the first period, we had two goals. So we have the Dylan Sandberg goal to start it, and that's a play where Dart kind of has his man along the wall. Levshinov decides to step in to double team him. Puck squirts free to Shifley. It's a 2-on-1 in front. Shifley gets it over to Sandberg, who scores, and that's a goal I think Spencer Knight's going to want back. I know it was a 2-on-1. I know it was in tight. It wasn't a one-timer. It wasn't a play where Spencer Knight had to dive across. I thought he had time to settle into the position and make the save, and it's just one that beat him clean. So I'm not saying, terrible play by Spencer Knight, but I think it's just one that he would probably want back. It obviously was a lapse defensively. But yeah, I think that's one he's going to want back. And with less than 2 minutes to go in the period, Teuvo Teravainen responds on the power play. And this was a nice goal. It was a nice play to keep things alive by Connor Bedard. Trouble comes his way. He bobbles the puck, but he's able to kind of chip it down the boards to Nazar. And it was a real breakdown from the Jets because Nazar had a lot of room. Not only did Nazar have a lot of room, but Teravainen was wide open in the slot. And so a pretty scrambly play by the Jets in their own end. And the Hawks capitalize. Great pass by Nazar and a great shot by Teravainen, and it's 1-0. We didn't have any scoring in the second, and this to me is where things kind of went downhill. First of all, with the second period, actually, I thought the first half of that second period was really, really sloppy. And then the Hawks, for both teams, by the way, both teams were really sloppy in the second period. It was a lot of turnovers in the neutral zone, incomplete passes in the neutral zone, and both teams just kind of chipping it in and chasing it. And that seemed to be the theme of the first half of the second period. And then I noticed the Connor Bedard line put together two really strong shifts, and that really kind of turned the tide for the Hawks. And I thought they dominated a lot of the second half of that second period. Nothing obviously came of it. And then the third period, and like I said, this is where I think things really changed for the Hawks. Ryan Green scored 32 seconds in, and it was a great goal. Even strength goal. Connor Bedard and Sam Renzel get the assists. It was a great pass by Connor Bedard along the wall. And Ryan Green, I mean, Ryan Green from that distance against Connor Hellebuck, I mean, that was just an unbelievable shot by Ryan Green. Great goal all around. Well-deserved goal from that line. But after that, we talked about it a lot in the stream for 15 minutes out of 20, and I'm ballparking it, but roughly 15 minutes out of 20 in that third period, the Hawks just sat back. They just completely sat back. They weren't pushing offensively. The Jets started to push early. The Hawks didn't fight it back. They just sat back. And honestly, I'm not surprised the Jets tied it. I mean, that the Hawks were playing like a team that were just praying they weren't going to get scored on, which was really frustrating because one, for the amount of time they did it, like I said, it was about 15 minutes it felt like that they played that way. And two, it was a game that they were honestly the better team throughout the first 40 minutes of that game. So it was really frustrating to see that. We were complaining a lot about it together in the live stream. And it was just like I said, it was inevitable that Cole Perfetti tied it with 39 seconds to go. So that's another one too. I think Spencer Knight's gonna want back. Um, it was a clean shot. It just beat him clean. Didn't get tipped. There wasn't too much of a screen. Maybe a bit of a drive by. But nothing crazy, and that's again one that he's just gonna want back. And again, I'm not blaming him saying that's a bad goal to let in. It's just one I think he's gonna want back. No fault to him there. It's a fault of the team for sitting back and waiting for 15 minutes. And then in overtime, overtime's a coin toss, and Mark Scheifele scores. So the Hawks lose it. They get outshot 32-20. But again, I felt like most of those shots were in the final 15 of the third. They were the better team uh, for most of the night. They won most of the faceoffs, 33-25. The penalty kill was clicking. It was 2 for 2. The power play was clicking. It was 1 for 3. I mean, everything was kind of working the way you want it to work tonight, and they just they couldn't they couldn't finish the job. Um, yeah, a couple guys that stood out to me tonight. First of all, Ethan Del Mastro, first game getting called up. I thought he was solid. He had a couple shaky plays in the first period, but I just attribute that to getting up to speed in the NHL and getting sort of just getting set in and comfortable with the speed and pace of the game, which he did, I thought, a really good job of as the game went on. He had a really good play tonight. It was actually in the first period where he kind of got caught and there was a 2-on-1 developing and he was able to make this sort of not actually diving, but this sort of last effort sweep with his stick. And I think it was Kyle Connor that had the puck and he broke up what would have been a dangerous 2-on-1, a clean 2-on-1. So a great play there by him. He had 15 minutes time on the ice tonight, 2 hits and a shot on goal. So I thought Ethan Del Mastro looked really, really good. Uh, Sam Renzel had a really good game. I think this was one of Sam Renzel's best games of the year. Certainly, I think his best game of the year. He was solid. He was solid in his own end, and he was very, very offense minded tonight. He was making great plays. He was playing off of his instincts. He was getting creative. He tried a spinorama in the neutral zone at one point, which he got bumped a little bit, but he kind of made it work. Um, yeah, he led the team, time on ice, 22-22 of time on ice. He had 1 assist and 3 shots on goal. Sam Renzel was all over this game, and he played really, really well, and he looked a lot like the Sam Renzel we saw at the end of last year, and that's really exciting if you're a Blackhawks fan. Uh, Closing out this season, some of the guys are going, like Connor Murphy getting traded. This is when you want those young guys to step into those roles, and Sam Renzel did a great job of it tonight. I also thought Lev Schnapp had a good night. He was on the quieter side, but I thought he had a very sound night defensively, not as dominant offensively. Although I don't know what he was doing on the overtime winner. The overtime winner, it was a bit of a misplay by Green getting the puck out, but Levshunov was gone. You watch the replay. They show the replay from the angle of the camera behind the net, and you can see Green. The puck's bobbling. He doesn't actually have possession, but it looks like he's going to be the first guy there. So Levshunov darts. He's in the neutral zone. He darts to center for the breakaway. Green can't get the pass to him. You have a 3-on-2. Levshunov hauling ass to get back. He can't get back on time, and Scheifele is not going to get stopped a whole lot from that spot on the ice in overtime. But yeah, I thought Ryan Green had a great game. Again, minus that miscue in overtime, Ryan Green had a great night. I mean, it was a great shot on his goal, and I just thought that line as a whole had a really good night. They were the first and fourth line. In my opinion, really stood out to me. The fourth line was great last game. Obviously, they had 2 goals, and they carried that over to tonight. They were all over it offensively. They were forechecking like maniacs, winning puck battles, creating offense. I mean, the fourth line had a great night. No notes for them. It was great, and I thought the first line was all over it too tonight. They were dominant most of the time they were on the ice, and that includes Andre Burakovsky. Now, listen. Andre Burakovsky by no means was really good tonight. By no means did he take over the game. Uh, to my knowledge, let me just quickly double check because I don't want to be wrong about this. Um, where is it? Yeah, no, he didn't have any points tonight. I just wanted to triple check because if I was wrong about that, it would have been a disaster. But I thought he had a better game than he has in the past. There wasn't as many of those turnovers. He wasn't costing us. He wasn't as much of a liability. I would say he wasn't really a liability on the ice tonight, like he has been for the past 15 games. I thought he made a step in the right direction, and I know we're not looking for small steps in the right direction from him. We're just looking for him to turn his game around. He's a veteran. He's done it before. Just turn your game around. Like, what are you doing? But there was improvement tonight. So that was a good sign. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's nobody on the team that I really thought had a bad night, to be quite honest with you. Again, like I said, I thought they played um I thought they played a great game. And like I said, they had every opportunity to win this game. It was their game to win. But after the Ryan Green goal, they just completely took their foot off the gas. And they just sat back. Um, yeah, we have a few questions from Twitter. After every game, I take to Twitter and I ask if anybody has any questions, and we have a few tonight. This one is from Calvin. He says, "Is it my fault?" If you were in the live stream tonight, you know what that's about. And Calvin, I hate to say it, man. First of all, where were you going? You were the whole stream. You were like, "I wasn't there. I was gone. I'm back. I wasn't there." Where were you, man? Um, Listen, we're trending in the direction of it being your fault, but if we see it happen 2 games in a row, it might be. So you're on probation next game, and we'll see what happens. Next one's from Scott. He says Kyle has blown 2 of his 4 top 10 picks, in my opinion. Artie and Korchinski, just horrible. Anyone was going to pick Bedard's. You can't credit him for that. We'll see what happens with Frondell. You're right about Bedard. That was a gimme. I mean, it was a gift in his hands, so you can't really evaluate him for that. Um, Artem Levshnov, I still think it's way too early. And he's put some good games together. I think in my mind, call me crazy, there is absolutely no reason to panic about Artem Levshinov. He's going through the same developmental challenges that any 20-year-old defenseman is going to go through. And when he's on, he's on, and when he's on, he takes over games. We've seen it this year. Look back on some of his games in December. He took over hockey games. There's no reason to think Artem Levshinov is horrible. But where with Korchinski, I'll give you a bit there of like he was a 7th overall pick in 2022. He's being leaped by guys on the team. Like that's one that's trending in bust territory. And I'm still hopeful. There's still a shred of a chance there with him, but yeah, I'll give that one to you. That's not looking like the best pick. I'll give that to you. Uh Next one's from Sergey. What are the positives you're seeing from this game? Hawks fans need to hear some good things with the way this one ended. Uh Positives. The Bedard line was fantastic. Sam Rinzel had his best game of the year, maybe even one of the best games of his NHL career. Artem Levshinov looked great. Spencer Knight looked great. Oliver Moore was flying. And like I said, for the majority of this game, minus 15 minutes in the third, the Hawks, this was their game to win. Uh, or maybe the saying is the other way around. They were the better team for a lot of this game, and they were playing like a team that was going to win this game. And like I said, for some reason, they just completely took their foot off the gas with 15 minutes left in the hockey game, which is just unacceptable. So I think there are a lot of positives. I mean, this a lot of these young guys are trending in the right direction. Um, and we're sort of we're seeing better hockey than we did before the Olympic break. We were seeing abysmal hockey before the Olympic break. We're seeing much better hockey now. Ryan Green's rejuvenated. Sam Rinzel's playing great. Artem Levshinov needed that break, and he's looked a lot better. Ethan Del Mastro's here now, and he had a great game. Kevin Korchinski is working through some of the weaknesses here, and he's maybe working his way up to being a more consistent NHL player. Yeah, there's a lot of positives to take away from this one for sure. And we have one from Tony. Thoughts on how the young guys are progressing. Also, is it just coaching or inexperience for how much we've got pushed late in games where we have a lead? Um, that's a good question. I would say probably a mix of both, but I would lean towards the youthfulness and the inexperience for sure. Like by no means do I think it's all Blashill, for the reason we kind of turtle when we have the lead at the end of a game. I don't. I would say it's majority the youth and inexperience, and that's going to come with time. And I had a rant about it on Twitter earlier today with somebody where because we got Bedard and Kyle Davidson's second draft, people have this illusion that the rebuild's over and we should be there now that we have Connor Bedard. But Connor Bedard he came at the beginning of the rebuild. We're just now getting to the point where we're going to come out of the rebuild and start to make that climb back up, make that progress. And part of that is these young players learning how to play in certain situations. And that's one of them, how to hold the lead in the third period. And they're clearly struggling to learn that. And that's just something they have to work through. So, no need to panic. It's just part of the process. Our last one is from Annie. She says, we had everything under control and then suddenly everything changed and we lost. What do you think happened? What is your take on these almost wins? And I think it ties into the last thing. It's just about learning how to close out games and defend leads. This team has firepower. This team can score. This team's got speed. They can take over games and they can get leads in games, and we've seen that. And the challenge is holding the leads and playing a full 60, playing consistent, and learning how to play through certain situations. And like I said, close out games. And I think that's what it is. I think it's more so that than anything to do with Jeff Blashill. So I know it was a loss, but I'm feeling good as a Hawks fan, because to me it's how do the young guys play, and we've seen some good play out of them. Again, I can't say enough good things about Sam Renzel. An amazing game from Sam Renzel, an amazing game from Connor Bedard. I hardly talked about Connor Bedard tonight, but he had 2 assists. He played amazing. So, I'm happy with this game. I thought they played great. I mean, I'm not happy with the game. I don't want to be misunderstood that I'm happy with a loss. I'm not happy with a loss. But when I say I'm happy with this game, I mean I'm happy with the overall development and the overall play of these young guys, the guys who actually are important. Because, like, listen, I love Foligno, Dickinson, Grizzlick, Bertuzzi, Donato, Terava. I love these guys, but they're not long-term big picture players. So for me, it's like, sure, it's a bonus if they play well, but if they don't, I more so care about these young guys. I care way more that Sam Renzel has a great game than if Tyler Bertuzzi gets a hat trick. So to me, we're still thinking about the future. Um, yeah, that's all for me in this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like I said, if you're new here, I'm here after every single Blackhawks game doing this, an in-depth analysis post-game show. I'm also live right here on YouTube for every single game for a watch along. It's a ton of fun, so be sure to subscribe. I can't thank you guys enough for the growth we've had lately, and these live streams are just so much fun. We consistently have a large group of people watching now and chatting the whole time, and like I said, it really feels like a community, and I just really enjoyed the people who were in there, and I really enjoy talking to them. It's a ton of fun. So yeah, we'll be back on, what is it, Friday, the next game for against Vancouver, I believe. So I'll be back for that. I'll see you then. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. I'll see you for the next one.